Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Bochum 2018, where we're looking at round number 7 out of 8, which we're going to be playing today. Yes, we confirmed that 3 times with the head judge, and she said, nope, there's no way out of this venue today before we played 8 rounds of Swiss.
Yeah.
So with an iron fist, Martina said, tomorrow we're going to only be playing 3 rounds and then top 32. So we're going to get through this. Having said that, we have quite a cool match, actually. We got Stefan Frankowski on the one hand side, who has a top 8 at the German National in 2015. So he's tasted glory before. He's been there. His opponent, Ding Kang Pham, you might remember from just the last event at YCS Prague. He was actually advancing to the top 8. He also has a top 4 at a former German National. It might have been even in 2015, but I didn't double check that. So he's a bit on a roll. Yeah. Actually, I think it was was it the Nationals in 2017? So he's had a pretty good year with a top 8 at the Nationals and a top 8 at the YCS.
Yeah.
And now he's adding yet another one in. Is it the same season? No, it's not, because seasons ends after World Championship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so he's got a good year. Let's just say he's got a good year. We picked these stakes because Stefan Frankowski. He's the reason for this.
This is incredible. We have here a player who's gone, this is round 7 now, so he's gone 6-0 with Mermails, which is absolutely fantastic. I love the deck. One of my first ever YCS tops was with Mermails many, many years ago, so it holds a dear place in my heart.
Thomas is so happy. You can tell he's like smiling.
Yeah, I just really think the deck's cool. It looks like it's set up for going second and doing what it's always done.
You don't have to feel ashamed for liking Mermail. It's fine.
No, I love it.
It's a judgmental free zone. Luke can like Necros. We're not going to blame him for that. You can like Mermail. That's fine. His opponent, Din, is playing the Pendulum Magicians. This is the second time we see them this weekend. In the feature match area. Obviously, there are a couple of players that are playing it outside. Anything super out of the ordinary about this particular deck list? Does look mostly straightforward here.
We see, so this list that we have in front of us is full of last-minute operations.
Yeah, actually, we might be able to see, you guys might see that. Here you go. So you see there's a lot of printed stuff, but there's also a lot of handwritten notes and crossing out,
And so we see last minute, Wisdom Eye Magician completely dropped from the list. In place, we have
Ghost Ogre and
Ghost Ogres and Allure of Darkness is coming in, deciding that Ash Blossom isn't the hand trap to be playing anymore. And Janky Magician.
Random one of.
Going to have to confirm the effect of that one. I think it might be something to do with negating the light monsters.
Yeah, negates a light monster and reduces it to 0, I think, because it was the one that was used in the Odd Eyes OTK.
Is it fair to say that this deck list is the result of a very busy night playtesting?
Yeah, absolutely.
It looks like exactly that. You think you have the right deck for the tournament, and then like the evening before, you're doing some late night testing, and then it's like, no, this is not good, or this is good.
There's a lot of changes. It's not like that's just one card changed. This is a lot of fundamental changes he made to his deck here.
But we have some expert opinions on the Pendulum Magician deck. Let's hear it from the pros. We got Jesse Cotton from Canada, who's here this weekend, who filled us in what there is to know about Pendulum Magician.
So Magicians, one of the strongest decks of the format for sure. They have the highest ceiling in terms of power and combos. They can drop the biggest boards. They can drop stuff like Vortex, Hope Harbinger, number 38, Mythical Beast Jackal, Evil Swarm Nightmare, Tornado Dragon. About any monster that does things on your opponent's turn, they can drop. A lot of their key cards involve Astrograph, and their new Link monster, Heavy Metalfoes Electromite. That card is probably the best card in the deck, and it is brand new from Extreme Force. It gives the deck more draw power, lets the deck search whatever it needs, and it combos really well with Astrograph Sorcerer, which is one of the strongest cards.
Yeah, did you see that little side look by Jesse? It was like, there you have it. That is like everything you need to know about the deck.
Yep.
And in a nutshell, I think there's almost nothing to add here.
Yeah, he's summed it up very nicely. A board full of negates.
A board full of negates.
I remembered the Yankee Magician, why it was used. It was used in the aforementioned OTK, but it wasn't that effect. It was that you used to overlay it into the Utopia monster that reduced the attack position. But yeah,
what level is he?
We're going to find that out, guys.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we take you to the feature match table. All right, so here we have Stefan on the left, Din Kang Pham on the right. We can finish that question about that level. It's level 7, right?
Yeah, it's level 7, so that is wrong. No,
Yeah,
which one am I thinking of? But yeah, this is we were right about its effect. I'm wrong about the OTK. It's yeah, you target a light monster and it negates its effects for the turn.
All right.
It's far more boring than we thought it was.
Who is the favorite going into this match, or is it impossible to tell because Mermail is just like so out of the ordinary of what we're expecting this
I don't
weekend?
care who's the favorite. I want Mermail to win.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
There goes the no bias. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to be unbiased as a commentator. That is my very hard belief.
Yeah. It's only Twitch chat who believe that. You do.
3 copies of Black Fang Magician in Din Kang Pham's hand, together with a Supreme King Gate 0 and an Astrograph Sorcerer. Yeah,
That
again.
is not a great hand for going first, and regardless of who won the die roll, he's going first. He's going to have to use his Astrograph to summon from the deck, whereas typically you want to be holding it for another card's destruction effect. He will, of course, be able to make his way to the Electromite here, but it's not a perfect start.
On the other side, Stefan Frankowski also has a card in more than one copy with Moray of Greed. Usually you don't want to draw that too early if you don't have the setup for that card. I mean, okay, if you have enough water monsters, then it's fine, but he does not. He's got a Swamp Frog, Upstart Goblin, and Nept Abyss, which is actually a water monster, but I don't think he wants to go return those to his deck, right?
Possibly not. It'll depend on whether he draws another water monster and whether or not it's one that he wants to keep. The effect of Neptabeast, though, will allow him to send Dragoons from the deck to the graveyard to get more water monsters into play, gives him options to recycle with the Morays if he needs new options.
Right.
Neptabeast was released much later than all of the other Mermail monsters.
Okay. Well, I mean, 2 more draws for Stefan Frankowski, so it's going to be interesting to see how this hand shapes up. All right, so there's the card of the weekend, at least in some people's opinion, the Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. Only, I don't know, how many times did we see it? Twice, maybe?
Well, 2 games worth, but we saw it quite a few times.
Okay.
In the first game with Pendulum.
We'll see Din Kang here setting up ready for the Pendulum summon. He gets to bring 2 things out from his extra deck, considering whether or not he wants to supplement that with anything from the hand. The Supreme Gate 0 is a level 7, so he can combine that with his Astrograph on field to be able to summon Orai's Absolute, which will get out the Orai's Vortex from his extra deck when it's used as a link material to climb up into Zephyr Metaltron with the Electromite on field.
So even though we said this is not the perfect opening, he suddenly has like 7 cards on the field.
Yeah, looks pretty reasonable.
It's certainly not a terrible place to start, but
yeah,
consolidating all of these resources into Xyz monsters means that when they leave the field, they don't return to the extra deck. So they aren't just floating infinite resources in the same way that the Pendulum deck wants to conserve itself. We may see the 2 Black Fang Magicians being consolidated to a rank 4, and that will further reduce the available monsters in the face-up extra deck for Pendulum summons in following turns.
Yeah, he's doing just what you
really
predicted.
going all in
For the
here.
Abyss Dweller, that suggests that he might have some knowledge of what deck he's playing against here.
Yeah,
Abyss
that's
Dweller,
true.
very strong against Mermail.
Yeah. Interesting. But it's very fair to assume that these 2 have been playing near each other for a couple of rounds now.
Yeah, especially as we get to this point in the tournament.
Yeah, we're slowly getting to that point in the tournament.
Yeah.
And also, quite honestly, it's very hard to keep a secret. Like
6-0 Mermail.
yeah, 6-0 Mermail. Like just last round, Din Kang was playing on table 11 and Stefan was playing on table 15. So it's not that hard to imagine that you're done with your match and you're slowly walking towards the entrance and just having a quick peek at what everybody else is playing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Dweller obviously being activated, and another second swap frog for Stefan Frankowski was his draw, and that was before the upstart.
The Dragoons.
All of these water monsters are really shut down by that Abyss Dweller. The Dragoons possibly might even just be normal summoned to attack over the Dweller and enable the next turn to go through unhindered, if he reckons that he'll be able to make it back to his next turn.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one Moray of Greed.
So we see
Two
both
cockpit.
swap frogs
Yep.
being returned to the deck.
I mean, some nice recycling going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. We see in Stefan's deck here, the Raigeki and the Dark Hole both able to clear out a board. So if he's able to bait the effect of that Otto's Vortex Dragon with a board wipe in hand, he can completely deal with all of the threats here.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything other than that. Is it Stargazer in the extra deck face up?
Yes.
So
Stargazer Magician.
one effect to bait out the Vortex Dragon, followed up with a Dark Hole, and there's nothing left.
Yeah, he actually drew Raigeki.
He did
in
draw
count.
Raigeki, yeah. Oof. Nice. That changed very quickly with that Moray of Greed.
Yeah.
It's interesting because earlier we had decks that need like card combinations, and the Musketeers, they did not draw both of those things that they needed, the spells together with the monsters. He has the water monsters together with the Morays of Greed. So no reason to complain for fans of Stefan Frankowski here.
I was mostly expecting to see heavy infantry going to the grave, there, just to... oh no, of course.
Dweller's already active.
The Dweller is already
Dweller is
active,
active, yeah.
so at this point he's just dumping anything.
Yeah. Avoiding something that would be good to dump later, in fact. Okay, yeah. I did wonder if you could send Neptibus with itself. It goes with heavy infantry in the end.
He's listening to the coverage,
Yeah,
despite knowing that it was negated by Abyss Dweller, obviously.
that's why he has the headphones.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He's like, yeah, what did this guy say? Okay.
He likes Mermail. I'll listen to him. He will, at this point, receive a warning for that.
Oh, did they already hand out a warning?
There's been 2 warnings now already. So Dean got one for slow play, and Stefan will receive one for procedural error.
Right. Oh, Kiwi is on a roll today,
Yeah.
handing out those warnings.
When did the slow play warning come down?
Yeah, it's quite...
Kiwi doesn't slow play with his warnings. He got it sorted out quickly.
Wow. Yeah, but then again, sometimes you have these tournaments
A
and...
soul charge being drawn there.
Wow, he drew a great bunch of normal summons there.
I've never seen Moray of Greed being used with more effect, to be honest.
Yeah, I love Mario
This
Great.
has always been a card that has been sitting dead in the hand for like 4 turns before finally he had enough water monsters. He's just like, yeah, I can do all of that in my first turn
Yeah.
and find all the options that I need.
He's playing a lot of water monsters, though.
Yeah, that is true. It's true.
See.
Just imagine
This.
if there wasn't an Abyss Dweller. That would have made all the
Well,
difference.
it would be bonkers.
Yeah, just having the knowledge that you're playing against Mermail to consolidate into that Dweller turn 1 has made such a huge difference to how this match plays out.
Yeah. It's interesting how many things are at play at these tournaments. It's not just what happens during your match, it's also what you do in between matches, how you prepare for the next round. It's like almost as important, arguably maybe even more important than what happens during the match itself.
Yeah. We see Gund.
So just 2 monsters in the grave for the soul charge at this point. He may, of course, be considering going here for the Saryuya. Card of the day.
The ongoing joke.
Tom's favorite card.
Been the best of cards and it's been the worst of cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a there's a wide range of usability for that particular card.
Diva is only when it's normal summoned, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say that would be real good if you could then summon that with Saryuya, but unfortunately, Diva only so good.
Yeah, only so good. Only so broken.
We keep seeing so many things that just might bait out that vortex, but nope. Din Kang is unwilling to bite, not wanting to negate anything that doesn't threaten the vortex
Maybe he
itself.
listened to the coverage and he knows that there's a Raigeki waiting.
Surely the Saryuya here is going to be the enough.
It's so much reloading and like improving the hand constantly.
The really awesome part is that Stefan still has 4 cards in hand. Stefan finally is saying, yes, it's time.
And bang, down comes Raigeki.
That's a very bold prediction. But
Bam.
a very correct prediction. Oof.
Yeah, Dini's just like, okay.
Yeah, Din is really like, oof, this feels like a bad beat. But
that entire turn was just setting up to be able to let the Raigeki through.
Yeah,
he needed to keep upping the ante again and again until
he's like,
Din Kang had seen enough.
Raise.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. This is enough.
Yeah. You sure you want to not negate this? Okay. How about this?
The Foolish Burial here, giving access to a Dark Worm. Put some monsters back on the field, get some cards into the hand. If he has a gate left, is he just playing the 2 gate zeros? If so, we've seen both already.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is it. Yeah.
So in hand, he just has his draw for turn, which was a second copy of the Dark Worm.
Query? Here's the second copy of Darkworm.
Consolidate possibly for Evil Swarm Nightmare here?
Nope.
No, a
Link
Link Summon. Oh, of course, another Electromite.
What else?
Why not take some free cards while you're there?
What else is there?
Right, now he can go to Nightmare.
No, opting instead for Supreme King Venom Fusion Dragon something.
I was believing you for about half of the name there. Yeah, isn't it Supreme King Venom Dragon? Starving Venom. That's the name. Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom.
Yeah.
That was close.
It's you got the 5 words in there somewhere.
There's something about dealing 4,000 damage in that card text.
Yeah, something like that.
It's one of those cards when you translate it, you're like, so the first question you're asking yourself is, does that card name make sense in English? and you're like, you end up on the conclusion, maybe. It's definitely not a yes. And then you have to translate that. That's always the most fun. Okay, but speaking of fun, somebody had some fun here, and the name is Din Kang Pham. He won the first game with that comeback. That was a back and forth, even though it was just 3 turns. Looked like a terrible opening hand, and in the end it was enough.
Yeah.
So Pendulum Magician, again, very forgiving deck, even for bricky opening hands.
I think that if Dean would have pulled the trigger on the negate any sooner than he did, then Stefan may have been able to do more, but... Yeah, I think he waited.
You think it was a perfect read?
Well, he just waited and waited and waited and waited and waited until he felt like, yeah, okay, I don't think I can possibly push more out of him here without pushing my luck, and then went for it.
It was
like drawing 4 cards, if you're playing Raigeki Dark Hole and possibly Kaiju Slumber as well, drawing the 4 cards may lead to that board wipe, so playing it then made the most sense to me anyway.
It was a test of patience.
Yeah.
And I think got maximum grades.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really doing well there.
Yeah, he really shows his caliber of a player. It's one of the most important skills, knowing when to use your piece of interaction, particularly if you only have one and you need to make the most value out of it.
Yeah. It reminds me of that one feature match in Prague where one guy was assembling a combo and then we saw like, I think it was Winter Cherries or something like that being dropped, and like both Matt and you in unison were like, no, that's not the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a guy play Winter Cherries at the wrong time, halfway through the spiral combo, and the guy just went, okay, and then carried on.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, that was, I think it was spiral, but it was just like,
It was kind of balanced, that match, if he had dropped it at the correct moment.
Yeah.
And then as soon as he dropped it, both of you were like, okay, this match is over.
Yeah, we actually both just yelled no really loud.
Yeah.
I remember.
I was looking at the deck list in that moment. I was like, okay, what is he going to do? And then I just
No.
hear you both, and I'm like, looking up what's happened. And then, yeah, he just gave the game away. Okay.
Yeah, that was a rough one, because there wasn't much more to say after that. Well,
looking at the side decks, we see only 5 different cards for Ding Kang Pham. 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Lava Golem, 3 Wavering Eyes, Denko Sekka, and Effect Veiler. Evenly matched in Dimensional Barrier, who he considered playing for a while. Both did not survive the midnight cut when he decided to
the rapid scribble.
Yeah, he decided to cut some cards and play some others with his pen editions. On the other side, Stefan Frankowski is playing 3 copies of Chaos Hunter, Effect Veiler, Exceed,
Encore.
Encore. Yeah,
Oh, I
it
love
looks
that
like
card.
looks like an E. Twin Twister, and then he's got 2 copies of Solemn Scolding and 1 copy of Solemn Judgment.
I really love Exceed Encore. It's one of my favorite cards.
So what is going to come in here? You Effect Veiler is... it's meh.
Yeah, Effect Veil is a bit meh.
I see Xyz Encore coming in, particularly if he knows that his opponent has access to Abyss Dweller. At the start of the turn, in my draw phase, I'll use my turn player priority, Xyz Encore, target your Abyss Dweller, get rid of it before you can activate the effect. Obviously, the effect of Xyz Encore cannot be responded to.
Yep.
Right.
That soon stops the Abyss Dweller. It's actually a fabulous usage of turn player priority as well. Not many people think about that kind of stuff when playing.
Yeah, that he can't deny your opponent
to play cards.
Opportunity. Yeah, especially a card like Abyss Dweller that can, like, in theory, be used at any time.
Yep.
I think that's the only way to stop it, right? When it's already on the field.
Yep.
You also see cards like Forbidden Chalice can be quite useful there.
That's a good one.
But unlike Xyz Encore, if you activate a Forbidden Chalice, the Vortex Dragon would have been able to negate it in the game that we just saw, whereas Xyz Encore, I'm reasonably sure, can't be responded to.
Yeah, you just can't respond to it at all, yeah.
So you activate that first card in your turn, target the Abyss Dweller, regardless of what other negations they have on their field, it's gone. And as we saw in that game 1, if the Mermail player gets to play out their turn with all of the effects in graveyard activating, they can churn through any amount of negations just by throwing heavy infantries at the grave, forcing out every single one immediately.
Yeah. So now these guys are ready for the second game.
Yeah, cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. Yeah, I love those kind of cards. Yeah, it's super good. I think knowing about turn player priority and knowing about how open game states work as well, I'm a huge fan of people who are willing to take the time to learn those kinds of rules.
Currently, Ding Kang Pham is 7th in the standings, and Stefan Frankowski is 14th.
How many players do we currently have undefeated at 6-0?
24, exactly.
Okay.
Just 24 more players.
So after 2 rounds, we'll be down to just 6 of those undefeated going into day 2.
Yeah.
Although that is not counting anybody who is 5 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses.
Yes.
So they are technically undefeated as well, but they don't have maximum points. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, maximum points.
Okay, so
we see Stefan here has opened with both G-Nex Undine and G-Nex Controller. Both of those cards.
How many controllers is he playing?
I assume just the one has been popular quite a lot recently. Yeah, a single copy of G-Nex Controller.
I remember there was a period where people were playing Allure and playing maybe 2 or 3. I've not seen Mermail in a while, so it's hard to say what would be good now. But yeah, I remember there was a lot of discussion as to whether people, you'd play just 2 Undines and 1 controller and no Allure, or 3 Undines, 1 controller, no Allure. There was quite a few different permutations of that.
As the games we see get closer and closer to just being what happens on the first turn, having more than 1 controller puts you in a position where you're more likely to draw controller, and you only ever need to resolve the effect once. So just like with Garnet.
Yeah, I think it's the same logic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he even has 2 copies of Genex Undine and the controller on as well.
So yeah. 2 Undine, 1 controller, Abyss Megalo, Abyss Gund, and Mulling Glacier.
Is that now 5 waters in the grave ready for the Mulling Glacier?
Not sure if it's 5 yet. We got 2 Atlantean Dragoons.
I think we're going up to 6 here, but with the Abyss Gund hitting the graveyard, there's ability to revive 1.
I'm a big fan of Mulling Glacier.
Yeah, when you're playing against it?
Yeah, no, well, I don't like playing against it. That's not nice.
Din actually has a Lava Golem in his opening hand. Although there is a chance that
he does until the Mulling Glacier hits the board. There's a 40% chance that he will no longer have.
Yeah. This is a pretty good opening for Stefan Frankowski, and it goes to show why Mermail is still a contender. If you have an opening board like this one, and you're stripping your opponent of 2 cards from his hand.
I can in fact share my reason why I'm such a big fan of Mulling Glacier. Yeah, so the new Element Sabers that are from Flames of Destruction really make Mulling Glacier really easy to summon. So the new Element Saber monsters, whenever they're in the graveyard, they can just change their attribute at will.
Oh, okay.
I think we're about to see Galaxy Tomahawk here, one of my favorite cards with Master Rule 4. Fills the board with tokens.
Yeah. I used to play this in a Crimson Fire Phoenix FTK.
This is just crazy.
So at this point, we'll see the Mulling Glacier before a material is detached. He only has 5 water monsters in the grave at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, it went up and down. We're currently counting 5.
So he needs to drop it now before he detaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good times. Reading that card text is it's basically a lesson in self-control. You start reading it and you're like, nah, this is not good. And then it just goes on and you're like, nah, this is even worse. And once you're at the end of it, you're really like gonna be feeling disappointed.
Yeah, and it looks fabulous. Mulling Glacier just looks great. I think most of the Elemental Lords look really awesome. But Mulling Glacier is definitely my favorite.
We see the Pendulum Call
and
the Lava Golem.
Oh, that's pretty big.
And yeah, you can see Din's head just bopped there. He was like, no.
Started bopping. Yeah, that was a pretty good hit.
That's a rough beat. I mean, 40%, like you said. But then again, here is somebody who was hoping.
So with Mulling Glacier leaving the field, Stefan will not be able to conduct his battle phase on his 2nd turn.
Right.
Yeah.
That's actually important to keep in mind.
Yes.
But he's just going for the alternative strategy of assembling a field that your opponent can't beat.
Yeah. I love the Tomahawk. It's just so cool. I remember using it in an FTK deck, which most people probably hate, but yeah, I just like it. It looks awesome. I like those kind of aircrafts. I can't remember what that, like stealth attack is or something. I don't know. I remember playing in Red Alert. They were awesome.
I have the feeling that people who are like listening a lot to your commentary are like, I don't like this guy. he likes FTK decks. He likes Cross. He likes he likes so many things that I don't like.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of decks that I liked that weren't FTK decks. I liked the Hat format. That was really nice. Dragon Rulers was really nice as well.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are going to agree with you there.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's got any plans for this last token. I'm not sure what links he has left available to him at this point.
Yeah, he's worked through a couple of them already.
He has a Trigate in his extra deck, but I don't know that it really does anything for him here. A Link Spider allows him to co-link twice with the Firewall Dragon, though, which is quite important.
Yeah.
So not too bad.
Firewall Dragon, as was recently
was voted sexiest card.
That as well. Yeah, it's very powerful.
Sorry.
More than one way.
Yes. All of that and more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he could have gone much further there. If he'd consolidated his Link Spider into the other zone, used the effect to special summon the Genex controller from his hand into the free zone next to the Proxy Dragon, there may have been some way of trying to work this board into a Trigate.
Possibly.
Maybe he's still on track for doing that.
So if he summons the Trigate in the middle, there's no way that he will ever be able to form
use it effectively.
the full co-link.
How many Trigates he playing?
Just the one, I believe.
Just one, yeah.
Okay. I was thinking maybe a second Trigate with the...
He's actually, I think he's on a mission to show us his entire extra deck on his first turn.
Yeah.
I think that was what he's trying to do
What
here.
is going on here?
Summoning a Saryuya?
Oh, here we go.
What is the link materials for Saryuya? Is it 2+ monsters or 3+ monsters?
Yeah, I think it's 2+.
Okay.
2+ monsters with different names.
And the 2+ effect is just the attack boost, so it's a high attack monster that gives him some new zones. He will be able to summon a rank 4 Bahamut Shark? Yes.
Yeah, so...
And get the effect of Dragoons as it's detached for the cost to activate this effect.
Beautiful. I love that when that happens. It's great. I love seeing Dragoons be used as many times as you can possibly fit into a turn.
When did we agree to have trolling on the commentary?
Huh? Trolling? I mean, it's great. Having Dragoons be used over and over and over, that's the purpose of Mermail.
It's the purpose of life.
Yeah.
That's what some people would say.
Dragoons, doesn't feel too happy about being thrown away all the time, but he gets his job done.
So, but again, it makes you wonder, weren't there situations where he was better off before he did more stuff?
No, I think that all of this consolidation is definitely correct here.
Okay.
So he still has the co-linked firewall, and now he also has the negation from the Toad.
Okay.
So he has 2 pieces of interaction for a 4-card hand.
And as we learned earlier today, if you cannot beat at least 1 negation, you shouldn't be in this tournament.
2 pieces? He's only got Totally Awesome, right? Firewall was already used.
Co-linked fire. What was the firewall used for?
He added back 2 Dragoons from the graveyard.
Oh, okay. Only 1 then.
Only 1 then.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's an open game then. Din needs to be able to beat 1 negation, otherwise he has no place in this tournament.
Yeah.
Admittedly, he is playing down 2 cards at this point.
And actually, I tested your theory with a couple of players outside, and everybody agreed. Everybody said, yes, that is 100% true. If you cannot beat 1 negation, no chance to win.
Yeah.
Okay, that Lava Golem would have been really good.
Yes.
I mean, apart from just the epicness of dropping a Lava Golem.
It seems curious that Stefan has opted to... Okay, yes. Yeah,
They're
the
fixing
level
it.
4 being taken and set to the field. I was going to say, if he didn't want to set it to his field, why would he not negate the effect in the graveyard rather than allow it to return to the extra deck?
And he's, like, Stefan even got follow-up plays for the next few turns with that Deep Sea Diver.
And he'll be able to use the effect of Toad in the graveyard to get back a water monster to his hand.
Yeah, so this is not looking good for Din Kang Pham, who did, however, win the first game. So we might be looking at a 3rd duel and deciding game with these 2 guys. But it's not 100% yet. Let's see if Din can do something that I can't see here.
He has in his hand Astrograph, Black Fang, and Pendulum Call. Discards the Astrograph because after the resolution of the Pendulum Call, the Magician monsters in his Pendulum zones can't be destroyed by card effects, so he's limited on the ways that he would then be able to trigger that Astrograph.
Yeah. Astrograph gets a whole lot worse when you've already played Pendulum Call.
Do you think he's considering shuffling up at some point? It's like this is.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of miracle comeback there is here. Tom, do you see any line of plays here that would?
Well, my instinctive line of play wouldn't have involved discarding the Astrograph. I haven't played much of the Magician deck myself. I've played against it a fair bit, but I would have thought if you discard the Black Fang, use the Astrograph to summon the Stargazer from deck, normal summon another Magician, find your way into a Heavy Metal Foes Electromite and just start trying to build up your resources from there rather than trying to push in with no way that I can see to be able to summon the Heavy Metal Foes Electromite before using the Pendulum summon this turn.
And also Din needs to be careful. I mean, he has that slow play warning, and he currently is thinking about this turn.
Yeah,
not
quite
saying
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it's going nowhere.
Yeah, why would you activate the Pendulum Call if you didn't already know what you wanted, right?
I agree with you here, particularly on the note of slow play. We've seen a few slow play warnings coming down in these feature matches. Some of them I haven't felt have been entirely justified, but in this case...
Although it is often, like I said earlier, you don't really pay attention to the speed of somebody playing because you're looking at other things, you're looking at cards in hand and the opponent's choices and stuff like that. But here, we focused on what he's going to do, and it seems like he doesn't know what he's going to do, and that is not good for him.
Why would you activate the Pendulum Call if you don't already know what you're going to go search for?
Yeah, so I think, as weird as this sounds, the best option for him would be like just calling it a day.
Yeah, I'm
not risking the slow play warning, and just saying, okay, let's go to the third game.
Yeah,
He appears to be looking out to the side of the table, so he may be talking to the
judge,
feature match judges right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what happened. There's been a second slow play warning here.
Yeah, so Kiwi is calling over. Kiwi is our table judge for the feature match. He's now calling over the head judge, and the head judge will have to decide whether to upgrade the penalty or not. Like we said earlier, I mean, that first slow play warning, I think it was on his very first turn.
Yeah,
so that's
taking quite some time to make his plays.
Yeah, in that moment I didn't look at the time, to be honest, because I was too focused on seeing what openings does he have and stuff like that. So I honestly can't tell you if he was playing slow there. This one seems to be a bit out of the question.
Yeah, it's very obvious, I think, this one.
So yeah, guys, this is something for you at home. If you're watching this and you haven't been to a YCS, or you've been to one or two YCSs and you're considering going to one, this is something that you can take away from this. You need to come prepared to these events. You need to absolutely, you need to know what you want to do at the tournament prior to the tournament. The tournament is not the place to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, just like every other part of the rules and the tournament policy, this is what people play to, and the people who win the tournaments play to those rules.
It's no.
You got to learn how to play to them.
It's not surprising. Like if you just ask 20 of the veterans of the game, 18 players are going to tell you have to practice, practice, practice. This is the number one thing. You have to really know all of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And in this case, so Din is now in that situation. Either he only gets a warning, but then he's still in a bad position to win this game, or he even gets a game loss and he cannot slow play for the rest of this weekend, basically, because if he does, he's just immediately going to get upgraded. Either to game loss or a match loss, and that could basically eliminate him from the tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. The reason we have this process of multiple warnings before it gets upgraded is because every now and again someone's going to play slow because you may be overthinking something or something like that, or especially in the feature match, maybe they're a bit pressured because of the lights and the people watching, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when it gets to 2 and 3 and
the way to look at it is, it's not like the judge is trying to punish one player. The judge is trying to basically level the field and give everybody the same opportunity to do well in the tournament.
Yeah.
Let's just imagine you're sitting in a room and you're basically doing like an English test or whatever, or maths test. And the teacher is telling you, okay, everybody has 1 minute to finish this test. And then this one guy, he gets 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Would you think that's fair? Obviously not. And this is basically why the slow play warning was invented, which is making sure that everybody has the same amount of time, or roughly the same amount of time, to think about their plays and make their moves.
From a competitive standpoint, this isn't even the worst place for Din Kang to be taking an upgraded slow play. Obviously, you never want that to happen, but this game isn't going great for him right now. To be able to have this second warning, he may take a game loss for it, but he's still in the match. He can, and this might actually be a good time where he realizes, okay, I need to sort this out. I need to play a little bit faster, and he might be able to walk away from this unscathed on his match record, by taking a game loss in the middle of this feature match and just tidying things up a little bit for the last game 3. pull it all together and continue to play on. The match is far from over, regardless of what happens with this judge call here.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the things we also talk to the veterans. What do you do if you take a loss? And you can basically extend that question to, what are you guys going to do if you not just take a loss, but you have a problem with a penalty or something?
Yeah.
And most of them are just going to say, you just take it like one match at a time,
Yeah.
you just recover and don't get upset about that thing.
Yeah.
So it appears that Din has been called over to, not just that the head judge has been called over, so Din is now moving in the other direction, so he's moving to the tournament registration.
Yeah, so likely this is going to take a little bit longer than I'm
so
sure we can fill.
Yeah, but we got options, we got things to talk about. Guys, we can bring up the results prior to this round, or we can basically give you the pairings for this round with a little bit more insight. So these are the top tables in round number 7. Eriko Speck, excuse me guys, that's round number 6. Second attempt, almost nothing changed. Eriko Speck still on table 1, and I think he's been on table 1 the entire tournament, so either he has a fixed seat.
He has fixed seating.
Okay.
This happened to me at London.
Are we able to check the standings of these players?
Yes, we can do that too. And there I don't see Eriko Speck under the undefeated players. So, as you said,
Yep.
Although he's 5-0-1, so he only has 1 loss. He's hanging in there. So Eriko Speck with an unknown deck going up against Gattuso Hussein with Spiral. Then we got Niklas Krebs, who's also playing an unknown deck against Nicolas Meyer, currently one of the most successful Trickster players. Lucas Calovini with True Draco going up against Federico Cherubini with some other deck. Then we have Ciro Perna, who's playing an unknown deck. A lot of unknown decks at the very top of the field. Going up against Brandon Polly from the UK with Trickster. Very international field. Very international field at the top.
Tom, do you know Brandon?
I don't know Brandon personally, but on table 6 we have Sebastian Blumers, one of my very good friends, plays a lot in Bristol with me.
Right. Table 5, the last one that you see on this slide we have there is Robin Le Penglau from France against playing Pendulum Magician in a mirror match against Christopher Nielsen, who's also playing Pendulum Magician, Denmark's most competitive player. So if we move our way down, here are a couple of players we've had in the feature matches in the past. Jawad, of course.
Jawad is actually really in contention for the World Championship points.
Right, so
at this point.
he's on a mission this season. Kevin Semlali, we have seen him a couple of times at the top tables. Although I think that's like a couple of years back. I think like the last 1 or 2 years he's not doing so well.
The name rings a bell, but not recently, yeah.
Speaking of names that ring a bell, Ryan Jacobs is doing extremely well this weekend with his Trickster deck. He's sitting on table 9. There's a very good chance that we might be featuring him over the course of the weekend. Very popular player normally with the Twitch chat. He's giving a lot to the community, so it only makes sense to also give something back to him.
Yeah, especially the glorious sidepins.
Slightly less dramatic hair than we saw at YCS London, though.
Yeah, he was cosplaying as Yugimoto.
All right. This is where all the German players are located. So I got a quick update from our feature match for you guys. There's an investigation happening right now. So we went from the slow play warning, which is the assuming that the player was just playing slow without intentionally playing slow. We are currently having an investigation regarding stalling, which is basically a player is playing slow on purpose, and as soon as you're doing something on purpose to gain an unfair advantage, that's just a different word for some. I know the Twitch chat is going to scream this word a million times, and they are going to be talking about cheating. In this case, the infraction is called stalling, and it's being investigated whether this is what is happening or what has happened at the table. So this is what's happening right now, but we can just go down a little bit further with our pairings for the round. This is where all the Germans are located. Tables 11 and following, with only Federico Mecozzi on table number 13 with Pendulum Magician. And the rest of this is all Germans, as well as our feature match, table 12, Stefan Frankowski versus Ding Kang Pham.
Now we saw David Schmidt in an earlier round playing his Invoke True Draco. He's continuing very successfully, still on the top tables.
Right.
A lot of German flags in that one screenshot.
Yeah. Lars Junginger also been to the tops a cup, like at least once. I think it was at a European Championship. Did not make the World's cut, but he was pretty far ahead. And this is like the exact opposite picture here, we've almost no Germans whatsoever in tables 16 to 20. There's Robin Bachofner, who we interviewed earlier. He was doing quite well this weekend, had a good time. So yeah, that's basically it for the top 20 tables. If we go further down, we see players. Actually, let's bring this up, guys. Here, this is where all the veterans are located. We got both Marcello Barberi as well as Alpay Engin. They are doing well enough.
Yeah,
still
20.
Close to top of the field. And but Stefano Memoli is currently sitting on table number 30. Another known player, of course.
Nico Schlierkamp, I can never say his name.
Schlierkamp is correct, yeah.
Alex Moffat is actually a pretty famous UK player.
These are table 33 and following. There we also see Samir Bashir, who was the first French YCS champion in a long, long time.
European champion.
Oh, sorry, even European champion.
European champion 2015 in Berlin.
Then another player we had in one of our feature matches.
Yes, Jordan Gallagher with his invoked Mech Knight deck.
Right, both him and Luan.
Great.
He's playing an invoked mirror match right now.
Yeah, great. I'm really looking forward to seeing this Mech Knight deck potentially be in the top cut.
All right.
Oh, we see Spiral again, just at table 42. So at this point, we may be on to players who've lost maybe one
maybe even a draw on top of that.
Yes.
Yeah. But still, like table 44 out of
in
1,950 players is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. It looks like this investigation is still going on. Yeah. So, in case you're not familiar with the process, every time that a player is doing something that a judge considers like an illegal play or something like that, the judge is then handing out a penalty. In almost all cases, that's first going to be a warning. Depends on the penalty, of course.
Yeah.
And then if stuff like that happens again and again, the judge is going to upgrade the penalty. Or in some cases, the head judge is going to be called over to confirm the upgrade of the penalty.
Yeah.
Or if you as a player feel like you're not happy with the ruling that the judge gave you, you have the right, and you should actually take advantage of that right as a player, to call over the head judge and confirm that penalty.
Yeah.
There is no cap. You can do that every single time you get a penalty. Even though if you're just doing it to have a good time, that's not encouraged. Let's just put it that way. This might be unsportsmanlike conduct. So this is what is happening right now. I think we have come to a resolution. Well, we're on our way to coming to a resolution. Okay, so the investigation is still going on.
Yeah, I think it would be best if we went to a break, because it sounds like this is going to take a long time.
Okay, you have some inside information that it still continues.
Yes.
All right, guys. We're going to double check with the head judge and with the players. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be back with maybe the conclusion or the continuation. Oh, no, actually, the player is now moving back to the feature match area.
No, the other player is now in the...
Okay, so, it's a longer process. Okay, it's a full investigation. We hear from both players. They can give their piece, basically, and explain what's happened in their opinion. So, yeah, this is going to take a little bit longer. The judge apologizes to us. No need to apologize, because that's your job. So with that, guys, we're going to take a quick break, drink some more coffee, and then we're going to be right back with round number 7 of YCS Bochum. It's Friday before the big event in Bochum, and we have one of the players here who has been in the feature match area virtually more times than anybody else in the entire venue. That's because Thomas Tovillo is usually working as one of the guys who is entering all the life points and the cards in our app. For my first question, I want to know, how did you get into the game? How did you get started with Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, I played the video games from a long time ago, and I really enjoyed them. And eventually, me and my classmates just said, why don't we just buy some cards?
We found 2 more players from the Netherlands for our quick question, how did you get into the game? And it's quite a contrast here. Let's start with Do. How did you get into the game?
Like, I was playing casual with some friends. They sucked me in the game. And then, like, I went to a local, and I wanted more Yu-Gi-Ohs because I like the meta and, like, not being casual. I like a win-win-win. So, like, here I am. Here I am at my first YCS.
And how many months was that?
Like 4 months.
4 months ago. And I think we have a kind of different story over here on this side with Rodney.
Yes, I started in 2003, 2004 when the series came on TV.
Right.
And when I say I loved it immediately.
And ever since?
Yes, ever since. I quit it in 2013 I had to stop, but back then in 2016 I came back again.
Oh, okay. Well, fever's back for you. All right. Good luck this weekend to both of you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
We found a player from Switzerland. It's Aygun Saidiski, and I want to know, how did you get into the game? And tell us a little bit about your background, where you're from and everything.
So I'm from Switzerland. I start the game from 3 years. And my first YCS was in 2016 here in Bochum. It's my second here in Bochum, so yes.
We saved the best for last and wanted to hear from these two dragon duelists, Lutz and Hanne. How did you guys get into the game?
From my dad, a friend, a son, played Yu-Gi-Oh! So we see that he played Yu-Gi-Oh! And we tried to.
Okay. And that worked for both of you?
Yes.
Okay. We have another quick question for our duelists, and I got a veteran of the game. And I got the perfect question for Umut. Yeah. This is Umut Serin. You guys should know him. He's won some things. So I'm going to ask him about his all-time favorite moment in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, there were several moments, but okay. Yeah, one when
we can do the top three if you want.
Okay, the first one, yeah, when I won the Fortune Tour finals, it was really amazing because, yeah, I bet from the first round to the finals all good players.
It was also really amazing for the people watching because nobody thought you could pull it off.
Yeah, because my opponent was Michel Grüner in finals, and he was quite arrogant in the situation when he had a full board of synchro monsters, and I cleared them easily.
Easily, okay. Okay, two more. Quick.
Two more. Yeah, the return of Black Luster Soldier, for sure. I never ever would thought that this card can ever come back, and now it's at free. Unimportant.
Okay, one more.
Yeah, when I summoned, I think at first player Trishula on featured match, it was really also nice. It was a bad game, but Trishula.
I thought you were going to say something about doing coverage with me together for the German nationals. Okay, well let's hear it from the other players and see what they have to say. We have the world traveler Matthias Link with us, and he's seen all of the past Bochum events, so I can ask him, what's been your favorite moment in Bochum in the past?
Okay, after the Second World War, we went, no, it's just a joke. My favorite moment was last year, as we broke the record of London.
Yeah, it was London before.
It was London. We broke the record of the tournament players, and I guess this is the point we can looking forward to the future. So we are growing. We have an online app for smartphones and everything, and this is a good direction Konami is leading the ship.
I swear, guys, I didn't pay him any money to say that. Let's
after the tournament, yeah?
After the tournament, okay. Let's hear from the next player.
All right, guys, we're back from our little forced break. We got Timothy Cox here with us. We were just looking over the top pairings. He's one of the players that was like very much on top of the field right now. Table 42 was your last round against Lightsworn Zombie Grass. And you got a bit of a story to tell.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm playing Spiral. To my knowledge, not many other people are.
No.
Yeah.
It certainly hasn't shown up in the meta breakdown. You've been solidly in the others.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I was like, okay.
Yeah, but so far it's working quite well.
Yeah, it's not been bad at all.
So what's your record right now?
6-1.
6-1, okay. One defeat, not a draw.
One loss, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, pretty good. No reason to complain.
No, definitely not.
And you want to keep going, right? You want to play all 11 rounds today?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. Why not?
Yeah, well, we are at the point where we're like, I really wouldn't mind if round 8 is going to be pushed over to tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem. Like.
Oh, you're flexible. Yeah. Okay. I see.
So I know that you've been playing Spiral a lot. I've seen you around at UK events. You've been consistently on the deck. Have you had any revisions, any changes going into this event?
I decided to main deck Dimensional Barrier. Purely because at Atlanta there was so much Magician as like the representation of like Pendulum decks, and also versus like Invoked and Lightsworn, it's really good. So I decided not to play any hand traps, apart from DD Crow.
Despite knowing that there was a very popular FTK going into this event.
Yeah, I decided that if I play 11 rounds of FTK, that's unlucky. But
it's one way to put it.
Oh yeah, when it comes to big tournaments like this, luck is a big part as well as skill. So if you get 11 bad matchups and you lose 11 dice rolls, that's what it is, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh.
And sometimes it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's brilliant. Sometimes you win all your dice rolls. Sometimes you lose all your dice rolls. You just got to overcome it.
So, what did it go like this weekend? We can actually try and bring that up for you guys. Let's see if we can do that. I'm just gonna enter in your name.
Yeah, I think the point that you make there about luck being an important part is a very important thing to remember going into an event. You don't always want to give yourself the highest average performance because if only doing average isn't enough to get you to the top cut, you're better off losing out slightly on maybe that consistent power and having something that brings variance to your game on the off chance that that variance is going to boost you upwards.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Maybe we can bring back the player match history for Timothy, just real quick. Actually, I got it here. Yeah, you won against Spiral in the Mirror, against Trickster, Pendulum Magician, Trickster, ABC, Trickster, and now Light Sport Zombie Grass. So seems like no Pendulum FTK so far.
No, not yet. The game I lost to Pendulum was an Ash on a 1-for-1.
Oh,
so can't do anything about that.
Guys, we just got the message that actually we can continue with our feature match. I'm very sorry we have to cut
no
you
problem.
off. Thank you so much for filling in. So guys, we're going to be right back, and then it's going to be round 7 feature match continued. I'm actually waiting for this conclusion because I don't even know what happened. So we're going to take a very, very quick break, just 30 seconds, and then we're going to be back in that match. Okay, our tech team is disagreeing with us here. Okay, we're just going to do it live. It's going to be a bit messy, that's not a problem. So Luke is going to come over here again because we're getting ready for this. And thank you so much, Timothy. Good luck for the rest of the day. And hopefully see you tomorrow.
Yeah,
I mean, you're definitely on track for that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So let's, in case... sorry, Timothy, can you switch with
no
Luke
problem.
real quick? Thank you so much. Unless you want to do commentary, that's also fine with me. But not with Luke. So if you're just tuning in, guys, we got the feature match of round number 7 with Stefan Frankowski, who's playing Mermail, and he's undefeated with Mermail, going up against Dinkang Farm, who's playing Pendulum Magician, who's also undefeated at this time. There was the issue that it seemed like Dinkang Farm was playing a bit slow, up to the point where the table judge decided that this might not just be slow play, this might be intentional slow play, which is called stalling, and which is a very different cup
Do
of
we
tea.
have the full resolution from that? Do we know what the judges have said?
Yes. So the investigation concluded, and it is just a game loss.
It's a game loss.
Okay.
So upgraded as
It
the
was slow
usual
play.
progression.
Yeah, so basically the final decision by the head judge was we do not think you did this on purpose. However, you were still playing slow. That means a second warning in this case gets upgraded.
Yeah.
That is the game loss. With that, it's 1-1. And that's back to Thomas's point, because he said this is like one of the best moments, if there ever is such a thing as a good moment, to get that game loss, because it didn't look like it was going this way.
So, yeah, we saw Dinkang. He may have still been in the game, but he was certainly floundering, even if he did have a play. So just having a moment to come and sit outside the game, you take the game loss, you accept it. He clearly was playing slowly, and to come away with just a game loss, that's fine. He hasn't even lost the match because of it yet.
Yeah.
He has this game 3 to redeem himself. Obviously, I want to see the Mermail come through because
all right,
big
guys.
love for the deck. But
Let's take you back to the feature match table where these two guys are ready to start their third and final game. So, Stefan on the left. Cards in play, Firewall Dragon. I think that's a bit of a... It's a leftover of a test of the app in between rounds.
Yeah, I think it's a leftover.
We're like...
So yeah, that's this is concluded, and yeah, how was Tim? How was Tim? He
he
doing in the
was
tournament?
6-1
6-1
after round 7 with his Spiral deck.
Yeah, wow. So maybe we can try and get him on next round.
So he's been playing Spirals for every event that I've seen him since he made the finals of YCS London. He's just
awesome.
Continued to keep plowing forward, and in all fairness, he's had amazing success. Even in recent events with only one Spiral Resort, he's still been able to make the deck function properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the advantage of if you're just sticking with the same deck. You never have to get any new cards. That's good. And on top of that, if you really know what to make of the deck, that's also good. So now it seems like in between those matches, the app was falling asleep for a bit. But we have the cards in hand for both these players. Dinkang Farmer's got Pendulum Call, Black Fang Magician, Supreme King, Gate 0, and Effect Veiler. Whereas Stefan Frankowski has Atlantean Dragoons, Mermail Abystois, Abyss Megalore, Moulin Glacier, and Upstart Goblin.
I love how you say Abystius. It's I like it. I'm not saying it's bad.
I'm
like
very often confused if there's a right or wrong. It feels like it's a question of interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
At this point, Dinkang will be in a good position if he's able to play out his hand and build a board effectively. Any passive move here may result in him losing any cards that he's holding on to the effect of Moulin Glacier on turn 2.
Yeah, just gonna try and restart the app to bring up the cards for you guys again. Because so far this was not working. Should start an investigation into that.
We see an unfortunate hand from Dinkang here is resulted in him needing to Pendulum summon just to get monsters onto the field, so we won't see the Electromite coming down before the Pendulum summon. As we've been saying, makes such a big difference being able to get those extra resources in before you have that first big push.
Right. So, not ideal.
We're seeing here the effect of the Harmonizing Magician. Summon a Magician from the deck, and it will be banished when it leaves the field. But if it's used as an Xyz material, it'll just go to the graveyard.
All right, so definitely not the perfect opening for Dinkang Farm. On a scale from 1 to 10, what's your grade for this opening?
Well, it would have to be on a scale from 0 to 8 if we look at this board, but...
Okay.
That was a funny joke. I liked that.
For this particular opening with Pendulum Magicians, it's looking weak. I'd say this is probably about a 3.
Yeah, I felt like that's about a 3. It's easy to say, I know, but I swear I felt like a 3.
There's 3 cards on the field, so that makes sense, right? One level for each card.
I'm counting 4, by the way.
No, this one isn't in the extra deck.
All right.
I mean, if you want to take the most absolutely simplified way of evaluating a board at the end of a turn 1, I'd say that maybe you get like half a point for each card and a whole point for each piece of interaction for the following turn. So obviously, the more cards that you have to your name, the more things that you have to be able to consolidate into new bodies, the more intimidation that you have for your opponent. Having a lot of cards can make you feel like you're in control of a game, and it can make your opponent feel like there's been a lot of advantage generated.
Right.
But the thing that really comes in is how many pieces of interaction. And something like an Abyss Dweller, that's not just one piece of interaction, that's a whole floodgate.
Right. That was a really nice wrapping things up here.
Yeah.
For that
good
commentary. Yeah. Nice job. So again, that I mean, obviously in game 3 everybody knows what everybody's playing, but Dinkang Farm surprised us when in game 1 he already did the Abyss Dweller move, knowing that his opponent was playing Mermail.
We see Upstart Goblin there drawing into a G-Nex controller. That is not what he wanted to see.
Yeah.
It's hardly a preparation of rights.
It's not even a pre-preparation of rights.
No.
Preparation of wrongs.
Please go watch round 1, everybody.
Right.
Not right now, just in a bit.
Okay, so this hand is a bit chunky. It's understandable that Stefan has to think about this. However, as we learned, he doesn't have infinite time. So he's wiping the board of sorts.
We don't now have information on the cards in hand for the players, unfortunately, so it's difficult to tell exactly what Dinkang has available to him here.
Yeah.
I saw a Black Fang Magician, an Effect Veiler.
There was an Effect Veiler, I remember that from the app, yeah.
And something else.
One card was drawn for turn.
Yeah.
I think that was Black Fang.
The one we're missing out.
And that was Dragon Shrine.
Dragon Shrine, much stronger with no monsters on the field.
Yeah, there's the Black Fang. I think Black Fang with Electromite is really nice because he's going to be able to use the full effect of Black Fang here.
But the Abyss Dweller didn't hang around this time. So that's good news for all your Mermail friends.
Electromite just makes all of the Pendulum Magicians so good.
Yeah. So how much is it about that one card? Is it?
It's just like double Helix.
We wouldn't see Pendulum Magicians being the most represented deck in the event if it weren't for Electromite.
Right.
But at the same time, we wouldn't have seen the latest Forbidden Unlimited list absolutely kneecapping the Pendulum deck if it weren't for Electromite. So
that's true.
The Electromite giveth and Electromite taketh away.
It's going to start its own religion very soon.
Yeah. What's it going to be called, Tom?
I have no idea. I'm not good for on-the-spot jokes.
Oh, come on. It should be called like Electromitium, something like that.
All right. So Tech Crew has recovered, and we can see everything here. The Galaxy controller is the card on the field for Stefan Frankowski.
And Stefan's hand is absolutely stacked. If he makes it through to his next turn, he's going in with Abysteus, Dragoons, Megalo, and Mulan Glacier. So absolutely huge potential to make all kinds of plays if he can just survive for this turn.
Do you think he's gonna, with the options that Dean has here?
Din Kang certainly has the ability to put out a board full of negates, but I don't think that he has options really to put through 8,000 damage very easily. He does have access to the Supreme King, whatever he's called, Starving Venom fusion.
Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom.
Supreme King Dragon Starving Venom. And that does give his monsters piercing battle damage till the end of the turn. Oh no, Ignista. That might just be enough. We see 25 from Vortex.
Oh wow, yeah, you can just summon back Astrograph.
That's plenty of damage.
That is it, yeah. Like you said, he recovered. He recovered in the most spectacular fashion from that slow play game loss. Not very common to get that.
No.
But he wrapped things up in the game 3. It was like the very best moment to get that game loss. Right, guys, let's talk about that some more in our post-match analysis. So it's back on the grind. Din Kang Pham, who was top 8 in Prague. We just saw him like ready to basically deconstruct his deck, moving everything back to the side deck. So he seems to be focused again. He seems to be coming out of this somebody who's a bit humbled, and he learned something. So his chances are still very much intact. He just needs to really make sure that for the rest of the weekend he's playing in like speedy fashion.
Just on the ball, he needs to be really focused and making his moves in good time.
But I'm very sad to see Mermail taking the loss there, but as you say, absolute props to Din Kang holding it together, come back after the investigation and play out the game 3, just clear your head and make the best of the situation. Yeah,
some players are like getting really shocked once they're going into the investigation. They already think like, okay, this is going to be it. Even if they feel like they didn't do anything, they have this mindset that investigation is a bad thing.
It's that daunting feeling.
I mean, it's basically like when you're being walked to the head of the school. So you never have a good feeling, even if it just starts with, I've heard good things about you or something like that. You're like, every time you're like surprised. Oh, okay, so this is not, it's not super bad news. All right. So, but Mermail seems to be like well positioned, or at least it's not terribly positioned for this weekend. We've seen that in that first game actually, where like all the pieces were just falling into place, and on the first turn we saw 2 copies of Moray of Greed. Just
that was super cool,
shaping up the hand in the perfect way, and then eventually Mulan Glacier in the first turn as well. So there was a lot of disruption going on.
I think it was only Abyss Dweller that stood between Mermails and the win that round, but Abyss Dweller puts in huge work against this deck. We saw at the end of the match, Stefan flips over the top card of his deck to reveal Xyz Encore for his next draw, 1 turn too late.
Yeah, that would have made all the difference.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. we would be we're going to talk to the winner. We're going to bring in Dinkam. We're going to hear from him what it was like to be in that investigation. So having said all that, we're going to be right back with the interview of the winner of round number 7.